Hare Krishna. With the driver of MT 8111-925, white Mercedes, please move your vehicle as it's causing an obstruction. MT 8111-925.
We're going to leave this. Here. Hare Hare Krishna. Lakshmi Nrsngadeva ki. Oh, Premanandi. You can join in. Om Agyanatamarandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chakshmatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapatam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Didanti Swambadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yatapatakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Shijivam Sadvaitam Sadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Badam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishavitam Cha Hey Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopikanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kancha Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sudhidevi Pranamani Haripriye Vanchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhivacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sanyavadi Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Everyone, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. And again, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. And again, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, we'll read a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 4, text number 8. Let's say the Sanskrit. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam dharma samstapana ataya sambhavemi yuge yuge. Paritranam saranam vinachacha duskritam dhamma sanstapanatayo sambhavemi yuge yuge. Lord Krishna says, to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. Please repeat. To deliver the pious and annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion, I myself appear millennium after millennium. So we'll just read something Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, the founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, has said, there are various kinds of avatars, such as Purusha avatars, then Guna avatars, then Leela avatars, Shakti Vesha avatars, Manvantar avatars, and Yuga avatars, all appearing on schedule all over the universe. The Lord Krishna is the primeval Lord, the fountainhead of all avatars. So another word to describe Lord Krishna is avatari, or the source of all avatars. Avatar meaning one who descends. So here's a list of just some. Yuga avatars, Shakti Vesha avatars, Leela avatars, Purusha avatars, etc. So one such avatar, of course, is Lord Nrsngadeva. And Lord Nrsngadeva appeared, as this verse says, to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants. So it appears that Lord Nrsngadeva's incarnation was quite short and quite brief. Quite short and quite brief. I was playing on Dundavat.com. My godbrother, Srila Indra was saying, and he said, perhaps Lord Nrsngadeva appeared for 2 hours, not long. And of course, the demon he killed, Hiranyakashipu, he wasn't your ordinary type of demon. If we look around, what chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita describes, we have the divine and we have the demoniac. So you are all in the category of divine. Because you're all devotees, you have some affection for Jagannath, Radha and Krishna, Sitaram, Lakshmi Narayan. You like religious principles, you read Bhagavad Gita, Ramayana, Mahabharata. You're all religiously inclined. So this is Deva. And then we have on the opposite side the Asuras, the demons, who take every advantage to challenge God. They challenge God with their different theories. Like the German philosopher Karl Nietzsche. He said, God is dead. God is dead. So this was his slogan. So they challenged God. Previously, there were just a few demons. According to Shastra, in the Satya Yuga, the demons actually lived on a different planet. They lived on a different planet. While I was driving in, I was looking at the Purnim. I think you've all seen the beautiful moon. It's very bright and very beautiful. So it's a whole nother planet, the moon planet, Chandraloka. And that Chandraloka, the presiding deity, Chandra, he took birth in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes as two people, Chandrasekhar and a great devotee called Uddhava. He also came down and joined in Lord Chaitanya's pastimes. So I was thinking, this planet, Chandra, it's a whole planet, and things are going on there. They have their villages, and they have their activities, and perhaps forests. And then I was thinking, maybe there's someone up there looking at the Earth planet and saying, oh, there's the Earth planet. Oh, there's Phoenix. I wonder what they're all doing there. But this Earth planet, it's the planet we're living on, is very special. And that's because 500 years ago, Lord Chaitanya appeared here. And 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna appeared. So this Earth planet, even the demigods on the higher planets, Swagaloka, Janaloka, Mahaloka, Tapanloka, and Siddhaloka, they're all progressively higher. They actually want to take birth on this Earth planet in Phoenix. Or maybe the superior demigods will take birth in Belito Bay. All depends on how much money they have. So our Earth planet is very auspicious, very auspicious. The demigods, they actually want to take birth here. So Prahlad, of course, is the great devotee of the Lord. He's a Mahajan. There's 12 Mahajans we follow in the footsteps of. Bhishma, Sukadev Goswami, Janaki, Yamaraj. Yamaraj he's also a Mahajan. And Prahlad. So we know Prahlad, young child. He's a young child. But he's also a very advanced devotee. He's not your ordinary devotee. There's different categories of devotees. There's the beginning devotees, and they're referred to as Kanishta, beginning devotees. And within that, there's many categories. And there's Madhyam. Madhyam means middle finger, Madhyam. Also many categories. And then we have the Uttama Bhagavat. So Prahlad is the Uttama Bhagavat. In other words, extremely advanced, much more than we are. And he appeared as the son of Hiranyakashipu. Sometimes we make the mistake and we think to be an advanced devotee, you have to be a sannyasi, or you have to be a man, or you have to be more older, or you have to have like a nice beard, that goes down here, etc. But Prahlad is a 5-year-old child, and he's a Mahabhagavat. So we can't always judge from the external point of view who's advanced and who's not. So Prahlad is very advanced, 5-year-old child. And his father is the biggest of all the demons. As I was mentioning, in the Satya Yuga, demons were born on other planets. Then in the Treta Yuga, demons and devotees, They lived on the same planet, but in different countries. So still they were separated, as it were. Then, the Dwapara Yuga, then in Treta Yuga, they lived in the same countries. They lived in the same countries. Then it's described in the Kali Yuga, they actually live in the same body. So many of us, before, or some of us at least, before we became strict devotees and vegetarians and chanting the name of God, we may have been a little off the track. We may have been a little deviant, diverse, confused. And even now, sometimes we suffer a little bit from anger and lust. These are demoniac traits. So within the same body, it's actually called, or you can choose the word, an enigma, a dichotomy, or a paradox. Now you're all confused. I happen to look up, obviously, the definition of these words. So it's really a dichotomy because it's opposite completely. So within our characters, we have good impulses or characteristics, but also sometimes in the Kali Yuga, we succumb to bad influences. So Prahlad Maharaj was not in this category. He was a very high devotee, very advanced. And Lord Nrsngadeva appeared to protect him. So from the demon, Hiranyakashipu. So I mentioned previously there were a few demons, but they were extremely powerful. And Hiranyakashipu was one such demon. He fasted and engaged in austerities so severe that his body was eaten by termites and ants. And all that was left was the skeleton. But still he retained his life air within the body. Now, we can't do that. If some part of the body, like our pancreas or our heart or our lungs, if it gives up, we actually leave the body. We are the soul within the body, and we leave the body. And of course, we take birth again. But Hiranyakashipu is so powerful, he retained the soul or himself within his body, although it was in the form of a skeleton. And when you engage in austerities, you become powerful. So Hiranyakashipu, he engaged in severe austerities, kato, very extreme. And from that, Shakti came, power. Now he used his power to try to become immortal. If you remember, he went to Lord Brahma and he said, give me the boon, give me the benediction, that what? I will not die daytime or nighttime. He's trying to cover himself, covering all his bases, as it were. I will not die at night. I will not die day. I will not die inside or outside. That means inside or outside. Then I will not die, what else? Or by any weapon made by a human being or demigod or like a weapon. What else did he say? I will not die day or night. Did I say that? That's a good one. On land or sea. In other words, I won't drown in the sea, or I will not die on the land. Anyone else? Any other benediction?
Either inside or outside.
Very good, but I think we said that. Yes, sir.
Drown or burn?
Drown or burn. Correct. So he was trying to outdo Lord Brahma. And he was trying to remain, his whole idea was, I want to remain eternal. This is an aspiration that many people have. And to further this aspiration, there are unscrupulous business people that say, you have some disease, you have some incurable disease of cancer or something. So we will freeze your body up in liquid nitrogen. We'll freeze it up for a significant amount of money. And then when we've discovered the cure to your disease, or we've discovered that special chemical which reverses old age. Can you understand that? Reverses old age, so you grow younger. Then we will wake you up, give you the drug, and you can carry on living. And they charge a lot of money. I've understood actually the famous Frank Sinatra even gave for this. So the idea is, does anyone know what is actually the name? Cryogenic. Yes, you cry because you've lost all the money. Cryogenic, that's right. And then they have a cheaper one where they just cryogenic your head. I don't know how that would work, and the rest of the body is not frozen up. And there was a case in America where the man paid so much money, we're talking about millions of dollars, to be frozen. So his body is frozen up by this company. And the company went bankrupt. Chapter 13, bankrupt. So then they couldn't keep the electricity and all that stuff on. We know all about that, right? ISKCON. They pulled the plugs out. The body de-thawed and just became very smelly and whatever. So the family took the company, or what was left of the company, to court and to say this man paid all the money, or we paid all this money to freeze his body, and now you've disfreezed it. We want to get paid out. So then the judge, he arbitrates, and he couldn't quite figure out if the company do pay the money, who do they pay it to? Do they pay it to this man who's dead, should become alive? Or do they pay it to the family members? So these types of things are going on. So Hiranyakashipu, he was of that temperament. Let me try to live forever. And due to his austerities, became very powerful. So if you want to become powerful, you just become a little austere. This is also for ladies. The wife of Dhritarashtra, what was her name? Gandharva. Gandharvika. She came from a family that actually come from Afghanistan. And there's some towns up there in Afghanistan named in a similar way. So she also, when she was betrothed to Dhritarashtra, who was blind, she covered her eyes. You know the story. Because she didn't want to present herself as being superior to her husband, she also voluntarily covered her eyes with silken cloth. And she kept that vow for the rest of her life. And due to that, she became very, very powerful, extremely powerful lady. She had a lot of Shakti. And when the Pandavas, at the end of the war, they came to apologize because they had killed all of her sons. She had 100 sons. And they had killed them all in the war. The 5 Pandavas were hesitant to even approach her because they knew she had the power. She was a very powerful woman. And then it's explained, I think it was Yudhisthira, being the leader, being the eldest, apologized. And some or other from the very corner of the silk wrapper around her eyes, she saw the feet, or some portion of the feet of Yudhishthira. And just by that gaze, his feet began to smoke. You know, they began to smoke, and the gaze was so powerful. So ladies can also become very powerful, and men can become very powerful. But the problem with these types of austerities is that when you become powerful like this, you usually become proud. You become a little proud, and you think, oh, look at me, I'm not eating much. Or look at me, I'm not sleeping much. And you become a little proud, and the heart becomes hard. And bhakti, or devotion to the Lord, cannot stay where the heart is hot, where the heart is hard. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has said that the softness of the heart towards Krishna or God is bhakti. And the softness or compassion towards other living entities is compassion. And between bhakti and compassion, there's forgiveness. So the emotion of a soft heart towards Krishna is called bhakti. And feeling sorry or sympathetic to other jivas is called compassion. And between this compassion and bhakti, there is this other quality called forgiveness or tolerance. So the heart, when the heart becomes hard, is like having thorns. You get thorns in the heart. So there's a danger also in trying to become powerful through means other than bhakti. So Hiranyakashipu became very proud, and then he challenged God. And he also abused his young son. An interesting point, because we preach. Obviously, we're a preaching mission, and we try to preach. So Prahlad, he tried to preach to his father. So did he succeed in changing his father? What is your answer? No. And the father tried to preach to Prahlad to change him. Give up this Vishnu Seva. Give up this worship of Vishnu. Hiranyakashipu. Hiranya. Soft beds, gold, unlimited sex life, opulence. Give up the worship of God. So Hiranyakashipu tried preaching to his son, Prahlad. But was he able to change Prahlad? No. So neither could change either. Sometimes we get a little frustrated, perhaps, because we're living here in Durban or wherever, and we have family members, and we try preaching to them. Naturally, you're concerned about your family members, maybe even your son and daughter, or your parents, some aunt, some uncle. And for you, it's so obvious, Krishna, Lord Jagannath, chanting the names of God. For you, Bhagavad Gita makes perfect sense. And you try preaching to them, and you don't get anywhere. You get more results if you go to a brick wall. At least in a brick wall, you get an echo. But when you're preaching to some of your family members, nothing. Нет, as they say in Russian. Нет. So Prahlad also tried preaching to his father, didn't work at all. So then, of course, we know Hiranyakashipu tried to kill his son. So this is Vaishnava Aparad of the highest degree. The Skanda Purana, which is quoted by Sanatana Goswami in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, it mentions different things which you should not do to a Vaishnava. You should not blaspheme, you should not be envious, you should not be angry, you should not try to kill. Should not try to kill. You should be happy on seeing a Vaishnava, joyful, and if you go against any of these principles, you're going to get reaction. So that reaction, it depends on how advanced that devotee is, of course. The Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Lila, chapter 2, states that if you offend a devotee, the reaction is 100 times worse than a non-devotee. 100 times more. It doesn't say Kanishta or Madhyama Uttama devotee. It mentions devotee. It's 100 times multiplied. So we should be very careful in dealing with devotees. So Hiranyakashipu, he wasn't very careful. He became very proud. He challenged, tried to kill, and then Lord Nrsngadeva appeared. So this incarnation of Lord Nrsngadeva is very much appreciated. Therefore, we also worship Lord Nrsngadeva. The worship of Lord Nrsngadeva was introduced, I've understood, in 1972, when Srila Prabhupada was in Los Angeles. It's interesting, Los Angeles, when we bought the Los Angeles temple in around about 1970, it was the first temple that ISKCON actually owned. Up until that point, we just rented. So Prabhupada was in 1972, and he was in the Los Angeles temple, and they were having Rath Yatra in San Francisco, which they still have nowadays. This is in Prabhupada Nectar. So the devotees left early to go from Los Angeles to San Francisco. Prabhupada was supposed to fly later on in the morning. So there weren't many devotees in the temple, and some hooligans, mafia, whoever, they threw a pipe bomb into the temple, and there was an explosion. No one was killed, but glass exploded here and there, and there were some injuries. And then Srila Prabhupada, it's explained, introduced the worship of Lord Nrsngadeva and started teaching the devotees, Namaste Nrsinghaya. And then, of course, told his secretary to send this out to all the other temples. And that's when we started singing and worshiping Lord Nrsngadeva. It seems to me that it's a little unique amongst the followers of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, because the worship of Lord Nrsngadeva is not emphasized so much in the other Gaudiya Math organizations or followers of Bhaktisiddhanta, but Prabhupada himself introduced. So we're obviously following Srila Prabhupada's example. So what do we pray to Lord Nrsngadeva for? It depends on our adhikari. What does that word adhikari mean? Depends on your qualification. If you're high up like Prahlad Maharaj, very advanced, you'll pray for the liberation of all living entities. But if you're a little lower down, your prayers may not be so extensive. But whatever you pray to look for Lord Nrsngadeva for, if you're praying to the Lord, it is good. Even if you're praying for something material. So, of course, many people do. Their idea is Lord Nrsngadeva can protect their material facility. And this would start with husband and wife and children and bank account, and no one hijacks my car, etc. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 3, Text 10, it is said that an intelligent person, even if they're full of material desires, or akama, have no material desires, or moksha kama, desire liberation, if they're intelligent, they worship the Lord. And then in the Bhagavad Gita, it's mentioned 4 types of people approach Krishna. I was actually looking for the verse, but couldn't find it. Those who want material wealth, those who are in material distress, those who are inquisitive, and those who have knowledge. These are the 4 types of persons. And there are examples. And material facility, what is the example of a great personality who wanted material things and worship the Lord to get those material things? Dhruva Maharaj, going to the forest, and he wanted kingdom and everything that goes with the kingdom. So he's the example. But then when he became spiritually advanced, he realized that his darshan of Lord Narayan is far superior. And he gave up his material desires. But he started off wanting material things, just like many of us. That's what he wanted. And then someone who's in material distress, that means disease, you're about to die, the mother-in-law's coming. I always have to get that in, right? So, who's the example? Material distress. Gajendra the elephant. Gajendra the elephant. We'll just do a little side story. There was a great spiritual master. His name was Agastya Muni. And Agastya Muni came to see, I'm pretty sure it was Indraduna Maharaj, previous king. And Indraduna Maharaj at that time was doing puja, ringing the bell and doing the puja. And he knew that this saintly person had come to see him, but carried on doing his puja. Now that is actually mayada. What does mayada mean? It means breaking of etiquette. Mayada langana. You're breaking the etiquette. In the Nectar of Devotion, it is mentioned, and Prabhupada also said this, 1972, that if you're doing the puja and the advanced devotee comes, you should put down the bell, the lamp, and go and greet him and offer your respects, and then go back and do the puja. Now, we don't actually practice that. For some reason or other. We have the pujari, Krishna Balaram temple, he doesn't put the things down and go and greet whoever it is, Gopal Krishna Maharaj or something. But Rupa Goswami does state that. So this king, he didn't follow the etiquette properly. And Agastya Muni decided to teach him a lesson and cursed him. And he took birth as an elephant. And why he took birth as an elephant is because an elephant is quite stubborn. So this king was stubborn. He just continued doing his puja, knowing that this great saint could have been his Diksha guru, I don't know, but was waiting for him. So Indraduna Maharaj, he's the elephant, and then this elephant is on the higher planets. Now he's not in Kruger National Garden or Phoenix somewhere. He's actually on the higher planets. He's a big, big elephant. He's a big time elephant. And he's in the water. And he's swimming around with she elephants and baby lighty elephants, if you can have such a thing. And the crocodile. Now the crocodile was an incarnation of someone from the higher planets. And you can't laugh at this, ha ha, but his name was Huhu, apparently, 7th canto, if my memory serves me right. So the crocodile tries to attack the elephant in the water, and this fight goes on for 1,000 celestial years. It's not a small-time fight, small time. 1,000 celestial years, I mean, if you have a Casio watch, the battery will run out. So the demigods, they also came and they were looking, this is very unusual, this fight. And ordinarily, an elephant would be able to destroy a crocodile. It would stamp on the crocodile. Elephants are quite heavy, they're quite weighty. But because the elephant was out of its environment, because elephants don't play around in the water too much, it's not their environment, then the elephant became weaker because it was out of its environment. And the crocodile became stronger and stronger. And the crocodile was actually winning. And at that point, this elephant, Gajendra, his name, he wasn't even too sure who was God, but he started to worship God, lifting a lotus flower, offering it in submission, and praying to the Lord. And Lord Narayan appeared before. Lord Narayan killed the crocodile. The Gandharva, this king who came out of the crocodile, offered his obeisances, went back to the higher planets, and Indraduna offered his respects to Lord Narayan. So this is all sidetrack, but Prabhupada wrote this, and at the same time Prabhupada was writing this, one of his disciples, one of his very dear disciples, was having a problem. And this disciple was in Australia. He was a sannyasi, and he was having problems because when you become the sannyasi, you have to become quite strict. And this particular devotee, Madhavisa Maharaj, Prabhupada called him the emperor of Sankirtan, the emperor of Sankirtan. Very early devotee. He did a lot of wonderful service, but he was having some spiritual problems. And basically because he was in the wrong ashram. So in other words, he was in the wrong place, just like the elephant. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that if we're not properly situated, then it can mean disaster. It can mean problems. So he wrote this with this in mind, referring to his devotee, his disciple. Although he doesn't mention the name, we know that. So one can approach Krishna, Lord Nrsngadeva, Jagannath, Sitaram, also having material desires. This is accepted, but we also preach that if you have the choice, I can ask you the question. You have the choice. You pray to Nrsngadeva, please award me my material desires, or please remove my material desires. Now, which one would you go for? The first one? The second one? It's better to go for the second one, because if Lord Nrsngadeva awards you your material desires on the weekend, then on Wednesday you've got new material desires, isn't it? And then that following weekend, again, material desire. They will change, a little variety. And instead of a BMW, you want a Mercedes. Instead of 3 garages, 4 garages. And don't forget the swimming pool that you never ever use. Isn't it? I have been to people's houses, I won't say where, and they have a big swimming pool, and it's heated, and you can see to the bottom, and they never use it. So, better to pray to Lord Nrsngadeva, Jagannath, Radharanath, Lord Chaitanya, to remove your material desires. But if you do have material desires, that's also understood. And many of us are married, and we have children, we have husbands and wives, and all these things go on, and we have to pay the mortgage, a telephone bill, and you need a job. So sometimes some material desires may get wrapped up in there also. So there's really no harm, but in the course of time, as you gain transcendental knowledge, you'll become more detached, more aloof. So Prahlad was praying for the benefit of all living entities, including his own father, although his own father tried to kill him. This is real compassion. And Prabhupada many times referred to Prahlad Maharaj's teachings in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam. So I request that you read this about Lord Nrsngadeva at this period now, the 7th canto, the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj. Very wonderful prayers. So we pray to Prahlad that we can also become pure devotees, and that our spiritual life cannot be hampered, and that the demons inside us, such as lust, greed, anger, illusion, madness, excessive attachment. Obviously, there is some attachment. You have children, there has to be some attachment, but excessive attachment, pramatam. Pramatam means excessive. That we can have these rooted out of our heart. And Lord Nrsngadeva can do this. Jagannath, Nrsngadeva, Radharanath, Guru and Gauranga. So Lord Nrsngadeva's worship is very much part of our society, part of our mission. And we follow in the footsteps of the great saint, Prahlad Maharaj. Lakshmi Nrsngadev ki, Jagannath Subhadra Balaram ki, Shri Radha Radhana ki, Jai Gaur Hari ki, Gau Premanandi. Would you like to ask any questions or make any comments? Nothing? Anyone? Hmm.
When it comes to food, then Jai gold coin and
Oh, Jai and Vijay, yes, yes.
another level. Then money, that money is
Hmm. Hmm. Oh, you got a question? No. This question is far too complicated for me. I'm just a beginner. I'm not even begun yet, actually. Some other fell in here. You've got a question, Maharaj? You want a microphone because you're a little bit small. So our Prahlad Maharaj stand-in is going to stand up and he's going to come here. What? Hare Krishna. And you're going to look at everyone in the eyes. See that Prahlad walk there? That definitely a Phoenix boy. Look at that. Stand, huh? All right. Lift the microphone to your lips. Now speak what you want to speak.
My question was, who created Lord Krishna?
Oh. Oh. Yeah. I've read all the scriptures, the Puranas, I know Sanskrit, I traveled in India, I fasted, I've standing on one foot. I can't answer that question. Perhaps you can answer it. Who created Lord Krishna? All right. Any of the younger boys want to answer this? Or younger ladies? Who can give the answer? Not you. Who can give the answer? The creator of the new Jagannath Puri Temple, Prabhana Prabhu, who we very much appreciate, doing a wonderful job. Who created Lord Krishna? Obvious question, yeah? Lord Vishnu. And that's what the Hindus say. They say that Lord Krishna is the sixth avatar of Vishnu, but as Vaishnavas, we say Krishna is the original. And one of his expansions is, of course, Vishnu. And there's many Vishnus, Karanadakshay Vishnu, Mahavishnu, Shiradakshay Vishnu, etc. So what's the easy answer? Who created Krishna? You know the prayer, Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sakchirananda Vigraha Savakarana Karanam. Savakarana Karanam. He is the original cause of all causes. Krishna has no cause. Would you like to answer? All right, let's give him a clap. Sit down, my man. He'll be taking over the seat shortly. All right. So what now? We have some kirtan. Wow. Can sing appropriately Namaste, Nrsngadeva. We can all join in.
Sorry. Thank you. Please take care. Thank you. No, bring it.